Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am your teacher Khurram Shahzad, and today we are going to talk about becoming an active reader. This is the chapter number 7 in your book, and our lectures are lecture number 5 and 6. So I'll try to cover this chapter in these two lectures. So let me read the objectives of the class today. So our 4 objectives are: learn how you can break passive reading habits to become an active reader. So our task is to make you an active reader. Number 2, understand the process of reading and how you can take control of it. Number 3, use strategies that will help you read for ideas. Number 4, use marking systems and summarizing to get more out of reading your textbooks. So these were the objectives, and first of all I would love that we should cover the first 2 objectives. Learn how you can break passive reading habits to become an active reader. You know that reading plays a very important role in our life. If you are a good reader, you can easily understand what is written in the textbook or any material which has been assigned to you, okay, for reading. Let's say if once you have got the degree, okay, from this university, you go outside, you enter into your practical life, okay, and again you will be asked time and again to read certain documents, certain emails, okay, and if you are good at reading, of course you will be able to understand, comprehend the material, and then you will be able to write a good answer. Therefore we can say that reading plays a very important role in one's life. Now as a student, and since you know that and we know that you are a university student, you will be assigned a lot of things to read. So all the teachers, 5 different teachers who are coming to your class regularly, they will be giving you different kinds of tasks to read, and particularly your textbooks. And your textbooks, they are difficult to read. You will have to spend time, you will have to understand what is there, you will have to take notes, and the other skills that we have already talked about in the previous lectures, you need to use those skills in your reading. For example, we have talked about reading against the grain, not with the grain. We have talked about that if something is very difficult, if task is very difficult, break it down into smaller steps. We have talked about that you should have a timetable. We have talked about that you should be flexible, and these skills, if you have adopted, so of course you are going to understand that what is the importance of reading and how you can break with passive reading habits and become an active reader. So let's differentiate between active reading or active readers and passive readers. Learn how you can break passive reading habits to become an active reader. Active readers are aware of and are in control of their reading process. So this is very important, that active readers, they know that how they can control their reading process. Reading is a process. Your cognitive abilities, they are involved, your mind is involved. You are supposed to concentrate, focus on the material that you are reading, and sometimes you will have to go slow if you think that reading is difficult. But if it is easy, so of course then you can go for fast reading as well. Later on in the lectures I will be talking about the kinds of reading like skimming and scanning, and we have already discussed them as well before as well. So it's a process. They use active learning strategies. You are supposed to interact with the text. Interact as applied to the reading process means to engage your mind with the writer's thoughts, questioning, and other active strategies you are supposed to use. Okay, now we need to have environment at home. Most of your reading that you are supposed to do, it will be carried out at home. Okay, your teacher may read certain passages, okay, in the classroom, and may ask you to highlight, okay, these passages so that you can understand what is going on. But teacher cannot read 20 pages in one class. It's not possible. Students cannot read 20 pages in one class. So it means that you will be doing this kind of reading at home. Now, first of all, you need to have environment at home. Okay, there should not be any noise. Television should not be there. Okay, people should not be gossiping outside the room where you are sitting. Okay, there should not be any noise coming from the bikes or motorcycles or, okay, you know, cars. So you need to keep these things in your mind, and then you should be fresh as well. You need to apply your learning strategies, whether you are a morning learner, early morning learner, or night learner, or you would love to study, okay, during the day. So these decisions you will have to make before you start your learning. Then let me tell you some of the other things, okay, which are not there in Carol's book. For example, when you are reading, you need to look at the title. Okay, title will give you an idea that what you are supposed to read. Then, you know, when you start reading the paragraph, okay, usually the topic sentence is there in the very first paragraph. You need to see the layout, okay, that how something is designed, how it has been presented to you, okay, the kind of colors, the kind of, you know, pictures, the kind of tables, different kinds of diagrams that the author has used. You should go through them, try to understand what you are going to study. Okay, so usually, you know, even this chapter, when it says that becoming an active reader, it means that the focus of this chapter will be on reading skills. So active readers, who are the active readers? Active readers have a positive attitude towards reading. This is very important. You should not, you know, think all the time that you are not going to get anything out of it. The same is the case we have read. For example, if you feel that the teacher is not good or something is not interesting for you, no way, these are the negative things, okay, which are there in your mind. Keep them out of your mind. So first of all, you should be positive. Your attitude should be positive, that anything that you are reading, if it is not going to help you right now, it may help you later on in your life. If it is not of interest to you right now, it may interest you later on in your life. And usually, you know, teachers, when they assign you the task, the teachers, they themselves, they study and they know what is there, and then they ask you, okay, to read these things at home. So these things are very important. So have a positive attitude towards reading. Then read for ideas. Try to understand the content. Try to find out that what exactly the author is talking about. Usually one paragraph is about one topic, and different paragraphs, you know, they will be talking about the same idea. Let's say if you are reading about television, so of course the different paragraphs which have been given to you, okay, for reading, they will be focusing on television. If you are reading about leisure, so for example, now I remember there is a poem, Leisure, written by William Davis. What is this life if full of care? We have no time to stand and stare, no time to stand beneath the boughs as long as sheep and cows. So, you know, the author is continuously talking about the behavior of the people, and he is foregrounding leisure. That today we have become so materialistic that we are, you know, running after money. We have forgotten our relations with the people. We have forgotten our friendship. We have no time to stand beneath the boughs, even beneath the trees, to enjoy, you know, nature. So today we have become so materialistic, so busy in our life, we have no time to spend with our relatives, with our friends. We are always involved, you know, in our modern gadgets, on social media. So we may know what is going on in America. Our friend who is sitting in London, we may know what is going on over there, but we don't know the person who is living next door to us, whether he has eaten food or not, or there is some sort of problem with this person or not. So this attitude has been condemned, has been criticized in this poem. Then for example, I still remember there is another poem, Women's Work, okay, written by Maya Angelou. So she talks about the different kinds of tasks that a woman is supposed to perform throughout the day. So she says that she's got children to tend, okay, and different kinds of things to, you know, mend. So this is how the whole poem, you know, it just goes through. So we need to understand that always there is a topic and different kinds of ideas which are being discussed, okay, they you know, they are focusing on that particular topic. So read for the ideas, and I think I should read you some poems. I should take a you know, a minute. Yes. Okay, I have opened up the poem and let me read it for you. It's a poem, Women's Work, written by Maya Angelou. So she says, I have got the children to tend, the clothes to mend, the floor to mop, the food to shop, then the chicken to fry, the baby to dry. I got company to feed, the garden to weed. I have got shirts to press, the tots to dress, the cane to be cut. I gotta clean up this hut, then see about the sick and the cotton to pick. So this is how the whole poem, you know, it just goes through, and it talks about the different kinds of, you know, activities. A woman who is sitting at home, she is supposed to perform. So the whole, you know, poem, it revolves around women work, different kinds of jobs, different kinds of tasks, different kinds of duties a woman is supposed to perform at home. So I will be sharing some more you know, text with you. Then when you are reading, see, ask questions to guide their reading and thinking. So you should ask questions. You should read against the grain. English we are reading, okay, from left to right. Read against the grain. Question it. Attack the text. Do not accept whatever the text is saying. Challenge the text. Try to understand. Ask questions. That why the author has written this thing, is it acceptable to you or not? Can we ask him questions? And the questions that you are asking, write them down, okay, in the margin. Ask your teacher, discuss it with your friends, or try to see when you are reading the text whether the questions that you have asked, the text is giving you the answers of these questions or not. So this is called reading against the grain. So active readers are those readers, they are not just reading and reading and reading, so then their mind is not there. You should apply your cognitive abilities, okay? Try to understand what the text is saying. Look at the words, the specific words, the vocabulary items, and the kind of structures and the kind of, you know, subjects which have been foregrounded by the author. For example, in the text that I have just read. So, woman, work, Maya Angelou talking about I have got the children to tend, the, you know, the floor to mop. So, she is foregrounding I. So, she is foregrounding the role of women here. So, it means that we need to understand, we need to ask questions so that we should guide our reading and thinking skills. Manage their reading process. Good students, effective readers, effective students, okay, are those. They manage their reading process. They do not let their mind distract. They know that they are supposed to concentrate. They know that they have sit now for study. They have sit now for reading purposes. So they are not supposed to play with their mobile. They are not supposed to look at the message which is coming to them. They are not supposed to, you know, see what is going outside the room. So they should sit, they should concentrate, they should try to understand what the text is saying. Manage their reading process, schedule time for reading. So they have a proper schedule, you know, for reading. It is not that they are reading and then they are sending the text message to their friends as well. So then they are not the active readers. They have a purpose for reading. So when you sit down to read, you should have some objectives. What are those objectives? Determine them, and then see after 20 minutes when you have read something, ask yourself questions. Are you attaining your objectives or not? Are you trying to understand the text or not? Are you raising questions in the text or not? So if you are doing all these things, it means that your mind is there. You are not, roaming. So your mind is there. That's very important. How to keep their interest and motivation high. So active readers are those readers, they are motivated. Their level of motivation is always high. They have a purpose. And they are interested in reading, trying to understand, okay, what the text is saying. For example, this is the month of Ramadan. And I was just coming to university and I was listening to Surah Maryam. And the translation was also there. And I was also thinking at the same time that how Allah Almighty talking about different kinds of prophets, okay, and eulogizing them, praising them, talking about them, that they were so honest, they were so truthful, okay, and they stood against their parents, and sometimes they talked about, their children. So Allah Almighty praised them, and I was concentrating, and I was driving slow, and I was concentrating what Allah Almighty is saying. So when your mind, it is concentrating, focusing on one thing, you can easily understand that what kind of text is being presented to you and what it is saying. And then you can think in your mind, okay, that what kind of message is there. Try to ask questions, okay, try to discuss those questions. Control their concentration. They do not let their concentration, wander around. So they control their concentration. Use study systems and memory strategies. So they use their memory strategies. We have read about memory as well. There is long-term memory, there is short-term memory. So short-term memory, it lasts for 1 minute. And long-term memory usually lasts more than 1 minute. So I think now Surah Maryam is also going through in my mind. And then the textbooks that, the poems that I have shared with you, that is a layer and women work. I still remember when I was writing notes for the BA students. I was going through these poems. I was preparing notes. I was writing criticism on these poems. And I still remember them. I think I wrote, notes for these textbooks 4 or 5 years ago. But still they are there in my mind. Old Man and the Sea, I know you people do not read, but those who do their graduation from Punjab University, they study, these poems and these textbooks. So I still remember what happened in Old Man and the Sea. And I still remember when I was studying Mr. Chips in my, FSC. So they are there in my long-term memory. So we need to concentrate, use study systems and memory strategies, underline and annotate textbooks. So you need to question, you need to underline the textbook, the text that you are reading, highlight it, use highlighter so that you can find out that what exactly the author wants to say and how you can cope with the, questions which are being popped up in your mind. Suddenly when you read something and something comes to your mind, and you start challenging the text, and sometimes you start accepting the text. Yes, the text is right. The ideas which have been given to you, presented to you, yes, they just hit you, okay, and you feel that you need to understand them. You need to explore these ideas further. You need to talk about these ideas in your next class with your teacher. You need to generate discussion about these ideas in the classroom. Then relate what they read to prior knowledge and experience. That is very important. And I always try, when I am discussing with you, okay, I relate it with my personal experiences. That how I felt when I was a student, how I learned when I was a student, okay. Just 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, when I was standing outside, and some of my other colleagues, they were standing there, they were here to, get themselves recorded. So we were discussing about students, about our own, experiences and our own teachers. And I was saying that our teachers were so strict. We never had the courage to ask for, their mobile number. And once I made a call to my teacher, and next day he was so angry with me that how dare you make a call to me. And today I was telling him that when we go to the classroom, students, they just ask, sir, what is your number? So time has changed, no doubt. So relate whatever you are reading with the prior knowledge that you have got in the previous classes and your experience of life. Okay, so women work, you know, talking about women responsibility. So we can relate it and we can say, yes, whatever she is talking about, we have got such type of women in our society, no doubt, because we have already divided, you know, our tasks. And what Shakespeare used to say, and I think we are having the same kind of environment here. No doubt women are also working in Pakistan. They go to perform different kinds of jobs. They come out of their houses, but still many women, they stay inside the house and they are supposed to do the same kind of chores that Maya Angelou is talking about. Okay, so relate. Active readers, they relate what they read to prior knowledge and experience. Review by reading notes, taking notes and other materials. So they always review whatever they have, you know, read. They try to review it. They use their mind. They ask questions. They take notes. They highlight certain portions of the text, and then they ask questions, and then they generate discussions in the classroom. So we are making a comparison of active readers and passive readers. So what passive readers do? So first of all, they have a negative attitude towards reading. They are reading and at the same time we have got this, you know, multitasking. And multitasking is nothing. How can you concentrate if you are reading and then you are scrolling your, you know, Facebook as well, and you are reading some of the messages and you are typing the text on Facebook, multitasking, then you cannot concentrate. So then you are a passive reader. Your attitude is negative right from the beginning. You cannot understand what the author is saying. You cannot challenge the text. You cannot take notes. You cannot then, you know, understand it fully. So read only words. They are just reading the words, moving through the text, reading the words, not knowing what the text is asking you to find out, not knowing what is happening in the text. Read without thinking or questioning, are unaware that reading is a process that they can manage. So then what happens is that after 1 hour, they will say, I have not been able to understand. I don't know what to do with this text. The text is not clear to me. The text is clear. Your attitude is not right. So we need to have a positive attitude, you know, so that we should understand what is going on in the text. Read because it is a sign. Your goal is to read. Your teachers will be giving you different kinds of tasks and you will have to read. This is the first semester and you are supposed to stay here for, you know, 3.5 more years. And of course, second semester will be difficult. Third will be more difficult. Fourth will be more difficult. And more, you know, difficult books will be coming to you. More and more difficult ideas will be coming to you. When you will be reading philosophy, when you will be reading Derrida, Foucault, okay? And I wish that our teachers should also discuss at that time Dr. Muhammad Allama Iqbal, okay? And they should also discuss Muslim philosophy as well. So these things then you will be reading. You will be reading, you know, critical discourse analysis. You will be reading post-colonialism. You will be reading literature. So they are quite difficult texts. When you read Shakespeare, Hamlet, so you need to develop your reading skills, reading habits in the very first semester, so that you should not have problem later on. Then expect the author to interest and motivate them. Passive readers, they think that authors will motivate them. Authors will, you know, present something which will be interesting. No. This is not possible. Are easily distracted. So they cannot control their mind. They cannot control their reading process. So they feel that even, you know, just some sound which comes out of the mobile message and they are distracted. They do not use marking system. They don't know how to take notes. They don't know what to highlight, what not to highlight. They don't know, what is important and what is not important. They resist asking for help. Then they are shy. They usually do not ask their teacher questions. They do not share their problems, okay, with the teacher or with their friends or with their family. So they resist asking for help. They often feel lost in class due to passive reading. So once you have not read and teacher has already, gone through the material, teacher has the knowledge, teacher knows, okay, what he has taught and what he is going to teach. Teacher knows that what other books and other authors have said something about this topic. So then they feel lost. Resist using study systems and memory strategies. So they do not use, their memory strategies. They don't know what is long-term memory and short-term memory and how to take care of the knowledge, how to, make affiliations, how to relate themselves, and how to relate new knowledge that they are getting with the previous knowledge. So that is the difference, between active readers and passive readers. And we need to differentiate between them. We need to learn that we are not right. So next thing that, Carol discusses is the reading and study connection. There should be a connection between your reading habits and studies. They understand the process of reading and how you can take control of it. So that's very important. I have just talked about it, First of all, you should have goals. Set reachable goals, attainable goals for completing reading and study tasks. Let's say you have got 1 hour for, one subject, and, it is said that it is established with the help of research that if you study 1 hour in university, one subject, you are supposed to study for 2 hours the same subject at home. So you have got 2 hours, 5 subjects, and you are meeting 3 hours for one subject. It means that you are spending 15 hours in the classroom, and 15 multiplied by 2, 30 hours you need at home for your studies. So if you cannot manage your reading habits, if you are not sure that what are your goals, what to achieve out of this text, how to go through this text, what to highlight, okay, and what are the things that he is supporting his ideas with the help of examples, and you can leave them. If you cannot differentiate between them, if you don't know your goals, if you don't know how to attain your goals, you are not a good reader. It means that you have no system. It means that you cannot connect your reading habits with your studies. So have attainable goals. Read the text carefully. Question it. Be realistic about your strengths and weaknesses. You are the person who can make a decision, and you know your strengths and weaknesses well. I know where I stand. I know when I am an active reader. I know when I am a passive reader. I myself can understand the material well when I get up early in the morning and I start reading, and when there is a pin drop silence. If there is a noise, I cannot understand. If there is, a noise, I will be distracted. So I always try to look for a place in home where there is no distraction, where there is no noise. So be realistic about your strengths and weaknesses. Recognize that some subjects will be harder for you than others and plan accordingly. Of course, for some students, some subjects are difficult to understand and some subjects are easy to understand. So your motivation level, your strategies, your planning, all these things are very important. Okay? You need to know whether you are reading it for pleasure or you are reading it and you have got certain goals to achieve. reading for pleasure is different. And when you read it for understanding, for your exam papers, that is altogether different. And I will read a text, a poem, okay, that will be for pleasure after some time. So know how you learn best, your learning style. You should know your learning style. Whether you are visual learner or auditory learner or tactile learner, where you stand, what is your learning style? And in the previous chapters that we have gone through, Carol has already given a checklist. And if you if you go through that checklist, you will come to know where you stand. And then plan your reading, study habits according to your learning style. Study at times and in places that help you focus. I have just shared my experience. So study at times, choose those times, okay, when you feel that you can concentrate. Choose a place in the house when you feel that there is no noise and you can concentrate and nobody is going to disturb you. Turn off your mobile, okay. Tell your family that I need your help. You should not disturb me. And this is my, study time. And I am reading, so you should not disturb me. And I still remember that when I was working with my supervisor for my PhD, she categorically told me that on Saturday and Sunday you will never disturb me, because these 2 holidays she said that she spends with her mother. So I always had this thing in my mind, and whenever I made a call or wanted to make a call to her, I always sent her a message first, that do you have some time so that we can interact? I have got a problem in my thesis. I need to ask you some questions. I need your help. So this is how. Share your problem, share your things with your family. Tell them, with your friends, tell them that this is my study hour. I cannot talk to you. Plan yourself. Find ways to motivate yourself. You need motivation all the time. Monitor your progress. After 1 hour you have spent for studies, monitor. Now sit down, relax, think in your mind what you have studied. Revise in your mind, review that what kind of ideas the author has discussed. Make notes, go through the notes that you have already made, reflect on them, okay? And then you will come to know about your progress that you have made. You can easily understand where you stand right now. You can easily understand that how much you have been able to grasp, and still what is not clear, and the questions that you have raised. Did you get the answers of these questions that you have raised? Or still you need further reading in order to get the answers of the questions that you have raised? Or did you need the help of your teacher or your friends? So think about this thing. Monitor your progress, keep track of your grades, learn from your mistakes, and consistently try to do better. Yes. Evaluate your results. So all these things are very, very important in order to become an active learner. So with this we come to the end of this lecture. Let me summarize it. So today we have talked about how to become an active reader. An active reader is one who has got a schedule, who plans everything accordingly. He or she has got a learning style. He or she knows what his or her learning style is. He or she has got goals. She interacts with the text. He or she is just not going through the text, reading the words. He or she reads between the lines, goes beyond the text, relates the text with the personal experiences, relates the text with the previous knowledge. So these were some of the characteristics that we have talked about the active readers. Thank you very much.